Great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to What If Nothing's Wrong with You. My name is Paula D. Atkinson.
And I am Lisa KKs.
And this is our friend and producer, Nameka. Thanks for joining us. We are on episode 27, which is bizarre and bananas. And I'm sure we're repeating ourselves at this point, but here we are. Today we're going to talk about attention, which I'm excited to talk about. It's there's a lot of attention on attention right now with everybody's faces connected to screens constantly. So we're going to talk about it from a mental health standpoint. But first, Lisa has some thoughts and prayers to go out.
I just want to extend some thoughts and prayers to my son, who is really sad that the Bailey Spin Tour was canceled. He had not only tickets to go on Friday, but we paid $20 for him to get to go backstage and get his picture and meet Bailey Spin. And I think this is like the equivalent of, because I don't know who Bailey Spin is.
Don't know.
I think this is like when Tiffany was playing at malls.
Yes. Now you're speaking my language.
He was supposed to go to the mall and then it got canceled. And so he's very sad. And he did give us the feedback because we were going to surprise him with the VIP thing.
Wow.
But after it was canceled, I told him, I was like, I wanted you to know your dad did this for you. The parenting feedback was, you shouldn't have told me that. So the disappointment was not allayed by the loving gesture, which I thought might be the calculation. He said no. Better to just not know.
No, I would have rather not known that I was going to meet Bailey Spin.
Yes, a YouTuber sensation who's, I think, getting some staffing. You know, as you grow and become bigger, I think your staffing needs change. So,
I mean, there were those
prayers
songs
to David
when Katy Perry stole the backup dancer from Taylor Swift, and then they both had to write songs about it. Right? These things happen.
Yeah. I told him, I said, she should probably call Taylor and see. And he was like, they are not friends. Calls?
Oh.
They were like, they are not. So I don't know what's going on.
Oh.
But I will be at the Indigo Girls that night.
Yes, you will. Thank God. That's a good Gen Xer right there.
I did not rub that in to David.
That you get to go to a concert even though he doesn't?
It's like, mine's not canceled.
Because Gen X women are reliable and they show up when they say they're going to show up, it turns out. Unlike whatever generation Bailey Spin is. Okay. Well, our thoughts and prayers are for David.
Thoughts and prayers to David.
Okay, so we have a listener during our chit chat today. We have a listener question that we are going to answer, which I think is a great question, and I think it piggybacks off of our monogamy, heteronormativity, amato-normativity episode. So our dear listener asks, do you guys think monogamy is at all realistic / achievable / healthy / redeemable? Assuming both people want that. Great question.
Yes, let's first start with both people wanting
assuming both people are interested in that. Yes. Okay, great question. Do you think monogamy is at all realistic, achievable, healthy, redeemable?
And before I answer, I do just want the listeners to know a little bit about our process, because our document for today illustrates such a nice difference about brains being different, because I have written like tomes and research, and like my answers are like long, and then Paula's just like, people can do whatever they want.
This is a fire sign and an air sign.
The whole thing is like that.
The whole thing.
So I was laughing so hard when I was going through it. It's just like, wow. Okay.
Wow. Great. We celebrate cognitive diversity here.
Yes. We have a lot of cognitive diversity here. Although sometimes you have all the research and I'm just like, I don't know.
Right. Totally. So
we don't know. But it was so acute in this particular document. My initial thought was, yes, I think for some people, the way that their attachment systems are wired, the way that they want to get their needs met in relationships, the things that need to be healed.
Yes.
I think absolutely, like, monogamy can be profoundly healing. And I know people whose marriages or long-term relationships are like profoundly healing and important to them. So
Absolutely.
like there are, even though I think on this podcast we probably talk a lot about like the
How it's all a
pitfalls and the
scam. Yeah.
ways and how it's all a scam, and many things are true at once, and there are very, very many happily married partnered people. I think there are people for whom something like polyamory would not work at all. It's going to just stress them out. They're going to feel terrible.
Yes.
This is again back to the idea that nothing is better. There's no like supremacy.
Nope.
And so absolutely, I think it can be great. It is not always great. Doesn't work for everyone. It's complicated.
People are different. As we'd say in my household, like gross generalizations are gross because you can't, nothing applies to everybody. Nothing applies to everybody except like drowning murders everyone. You know, there are some things, but like most things relationally, nothing applies to everybody. I think it's also from a woo perspective. I was thinking about that, and I was looking at my Emmanuel's book, which is my Bible. And Emmanuel is a being who no longer has to come in human form anymore because they have lived so many times. And they ask Emmanuel questions, and they ask him about like monogamy and all this stuff. And I love the answer that Emmanuel always gives is the only reason to be in a relationship is to grow and expand. It's not just to get your fucking needs met all the time. Turns out, and that is like to remember that is narcissism. And that narcissism is everywhere. Narcissism is our entire culture. So it's not just to get your needs met. Turns out it's there to grow. And for some people, polyamory or an open marriage is the best way to grow and expand and learn more about myself and learn more about how to love this person and learn more how to love myself. And then for other people, the monogamy is the best way to learn how to love this person and love myself and be loved and accept love. And trust that I am lovable and trust that I am acceptable no matter what. Like these are all the lessons that we're trying to learn when we're in relationship. And that's a sexual relationship or a friendship or a parent relationship. It's all the same lesson over and over. I am lovable. You are lovable. You don't have to perform anything to be loved. You don't have to do anything, right? Like this is what we're learning. So some people learn that in monogamy, some people don't.
And as you're saying that, I'm thinking too that like we have this binary, right? You're either like married or you're divorced. You're single or you're with someone or you're broken up.
Mm-hmm.
And that somebody's way of growing in a relationship might also be like working their way out of the programming that says this person must meet all of my needs and figuring out different ways of meeting. You know, there's all different kinds of ways to grow that I think we can get very narrow about. So I love that Emmanuel thing. I bought that book and then I haven't read it yet. So I don't know what that means. But after you recommended it, I just carry it around.
You should just carry it around. It's so good for you to carry it around. It gets into your system whether or not you carry it around. Yeah, I mean, my partner and I have been together. It'll be 20 years in December, and we make people really uncomfortable because we are not interested in getting married, and that's really hard for people. And I was just had a client the other day who was really sad about breaking up with somebody, and I was like, just because you're breaking up doesn't mean you're not in relationship with them. And they were like, what? And I'm like, what? Show me where it's written that you will go to jail if you are no longer partnered, but still are in relationship. I mean, like, this is where the lesbians need to teach everyone how to, maybe you're not partnered, but that doesn't mean you never have to speak to them again. It doesn't mean anything.
Right. We don't have to do, I just had somebody talking to me about this, about like, I've just realized that I'm allowed to do like not angry, hateful breakups, which has also been part of my learning curve because that's the only model I learned. And think about too, like what they say about when somebody dies and it's like your relationship doesn't stop. It changes. Right. But also, it's like there are, and I think about all the kids that are like no contact with their parents sitting in my office for years talking about that. They are still in you can't get out of that relationship. Like, you're still in the relationship. You're just doing it in a particular way. Like it's always, I love that it's like nobody really cuts off anything. I mean, we're always in every relationship we've ever been in some way. It's in us.
There's no such thing as nothing. There's no such thing as nothing. So there's no such thing to be in a relationship and then never, I mean, you can cut off contact, you could do, and if that's what's healthy for you, again, if that's what brings you the most sanity, then do that. But yeah, there's a million ways. I mean, I was going to say this a little bit later, but I'm going to say it now because, and I say this to people all the time, and I know I've said it to you. You and who this person is, the relationship that you created, the two of your souls in a body on this plane of existence right now has never existed in the history of humanity, and you guys get to make whatever you want. You guys get to do whatever you want. Your marriage can look like whatever the fuck you want. Your unmarriage can look like whatever the fuck you want. You're co-parenting, you're having sex with the neighbor, blah, blah, blah. You can do whatever you want. There's no rules. As long as nobody's getting hurt, you can do whatever you want. You are two adults.
And now I'm rethinking the never ending story and the nothing, because my first thought was, but the nothing does exist in the never ending story. And then I thought, but what if it symbolically is about, anyway, that's a loop we'll come back to. I'm going to have to write a tome about to finish that thought.
Great.
But that's where my mind went,
But
obviously.
I think the nothing doesn't exist, right? Like that was my whole thing with never ending story. Also a Gen X thing that we're all traumatized by.
Yeah. Or it gave our life meaning for a very long time, and we memorized the entire film and could have recited it. But anyway, whatever.
Yes, that's what I did. Exactly. So, do you have more to say about monogamy?
Do.
Yeah, please go.
I'm going to see if I can take my tome that I wrote and make it 3 sentences.
Oh, yes. No, I love this. Please.
Wanted to say, which doesn't totally answer this question completely, but the thing that I felt like I wanted to say was, one of the main problems that I see with marriage today is that neither party gives actual informed consent.
Word.
I do not think we can, because I went to my 3-hour mandatory supervision ethics training today, which, oh my God. Although it wasn't that horrible, really.
Okay.
But, it's all about informed consent. That informed consent, you must be given accurate, specific, detailed information about what you are entering into so that you can make a rational decision.
Word.
And in my opinion, in the United States of this America, and probably on the entire planet, I'm not sure about other cultures enough,
right?
I don't think anyone actually consents to marriage or to parenting. Not men, not women.
No.
Except for the queer and polyamorous folks who enter into conscious agreements about it. But otherwise, you are entering into like a mythological lie, and no one talks about the truth about it because of the shame and the whatever. And it's like, I think that therefore the issue with it is that no one actually agrees to what they're getting into. And so I think you can win the lottery and be in the 5% of people that it's really healing and wonderful for.
Sure.
But I don't think that's the majority. And everybody's sitting around going, how did I get here? I wouldn't have agreed to this. This is like a setup and because no one has the fair information. So that's my thought about marriage and an important piece of the scam, because you can't say that people get consent to be conned.
No.
That's what it's like. It's not a fair setup. And okay, it's like it's not the tome, but it's more than 3 sentences.
Sure, fine.
But keeping in mind that, like, as therapists, you can get through all of therapy school. You can go your entire career and never learn about polyamory, open marriage, asexuality,
God. Right?
Any of the things that we talked about in the last episode. You don't have to know about any of them.
No.
So if we think about normative culture and this like grooming people towards this one way of being,
heteronormativity,
that in itself is a data point about why this is like deeply problematic, and we pathologize anyone feeling the opposite way. It's wild.
It is wild. And that the people who are not having a great time living in all of these unconscious agreements is what Lisa and I learned about in psychic school. Everybody who's not having a good time, they are taught that there's something wrong with them, right? And we harken back to the title of our podcast, that you are taught that there's something wrong with you, that you're not having a good time, that you entered into all of these unconscious agreements that you never consciously agreed to.
And the other piece, and this is here, Nameka, you can put this on TikTok and this will make everyone mad, because we're going to talk about history and everybody can be like, she got the year wrong. But like marriage came about when people were not living this long. We live a really
1,000%.
A friend of mine who was just visiting was like, it was invented when people were living to like 40. I mean, not invented. Obviously, people were living even less time, like 20, 30, 40, like
30 years.
80 and 100. And I have never there's some famous quote about, I think it's an Indigo Girls quote or song about if you look back 5 years, you're unrecognizable to yourself. And like this idea
Sure.
that we're supposed to pick somebody who's going to grow in the same trajectory in the same way
Yeah.
over decades and decades it is a tall, unlikely order.
It truly,
There's
truly
nothing wrong with you. It's
and especially if you don't have the basis of your relationship, again, sexual, romantic, platonic, friendship, whatever. If the basics of it is, I support you in being whoever the fuck you are, and you support me in being whoever the fuck I am, then we're gonna get in trouble because in 5 years you're gonna be a completely different person.
Mhm.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So, loyal listener, dear listener, we hope that answers your question. We do think monogamy is totally, yeah, sure. Again, everybody can do whatever the fuck they want. Two people want to do monogamy? Great.
I
Cool.
have paragraphs, okay? And Paula literally has, you can do whatever you want.
If it feels good to you, do it. If it doesn't, don't. That's basically what I just say as a therapist over and over. Okay,
Paula, give us some Gen X trivia.
I have some Gen X trivia that I just learned this week. Everyone knows that I read People magazine cover to cover every week while I'm at the gym. That's how I get through the gym. And I learned Mia Sarah, who was one of my bisexuality awakenings. She's so beautiful. Sloane from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So gorgeous. She is married to Brian Henson, son of Jim Henson. She
What?
married into Muppet royalty. Mia Sarah is married to Muppet royalty.
I think it's better if you call her Sloane. Nobody.
Sloane?
I know I don't know anyone's name. I feel like you need to just call her Sloane from Ferris Bueller.
Okay, Sloane from Ferris Bueller, one of the most gorgeous women who ever existed, and she was in Legend with Tom Cruise, which is one of a great 80s fairy, remember all the fantasy movies? So great. She is married to Brian Henson of the Muppets, of Muppet fame, and they live in a castle in the UK. God bless. God bless. They have given us so much. God bless them. They've given.
I have no comment. No further comment.
So great. Did you know that? No, not.
No. What?
No. I mean, I know a lot of useless information about celebrities. I didn't know that. I'm so glad you're blown away by that. She's in a new movie.
I thought you were going to say she married the guy who drove the car backwards. What was that guy's name?
Cameron.
That's where I thought I thought you were going to say she married Cameron and then.
No,
wow.
Cameron's married to somebody else mildly famous, but not Cameron. No. So that's my Gen X trivia of the week.
That was a lot.
It's a lot, right? It's amazing.
The castle really just because Jim Henson made Labyrinth.
Exactly. There's so
does
many
the castle have a worm in the wall? Does the worm talk?
Is it in a terrible British accent? I hope so. Oh my God. That would be amazing. If there's anybody younger than 45 listening to this, they're like, what are these two old ladies talking about?
What's going on? Are they okay? What's happening?
Okay, speaking of middle-agedness, Lisa and I just realized that we both bought ourselves the most middle-aged purchases ever. So for Father's Day, because I am the father of my household, I bought myself a power washer. And it turns out Lisa bought herself one as well.
I have not taken it out of the box because it won't stop raining.
Oh.
But the people of my suburb are obsessed with power washing. So part of me felt like I'm not doing something right. But also I had a pollen problem. So I too just bought a power washer. I can't believe this. The people of the suburbs, when you get together, they talk about the quality of the power washers, the flaws, which one to buy. It's a thing. I just discovered power washer TikTok.
Oh my God. It's the most satisfying thing. It is so satisfying. Numeka said you've never watched power washing TikTok, Numeka?
Nah, I don't know.
I think you have to buy a power washer to get it into your algorithm.
Actually,
it knows I live in the suburbs, so it's like send her the power washing.
I found it. I don't know how I found it. I don't know how I stumbled upon it, but I was watching it maybe when TikTok knew that I moved out of an apartment and into a home with like an outdoor area that I have to keep clean. That's when TikTok was like, send her the TikToks. It's so satisfying. I doubt that I've realized that now I realize now that a lot of those are AI and no power washer works that well. I've
No.
I've I've just yeah, I've succumbed to that. I've accepted that. I'm gonna move on. But I'm really excited about my power washer.
Did you get the backpack kind or
Yeah,
the like vacuum cleaner model? Okay.
backpack.
Interesting. I think I got the vacuum cleaner model, and so we'll have to compare
Oh, good. We'll
notes
compare.
on,
Oh,
we can become like the people of the suburbs and compare power washing notes so that our listeners know which one to buy, because
thank
that's
God.
how we roll
No,
in
I wanted to be
suburbia.
full Dora the Explorer in my front yard. I'm very excited.
That's what my neighbor has, and I kept wanting to ask, like, "Could I just borrow your power washer?
I
Could we
know.
share?" Because
I
I try to buy
probably
less stuff, but they're doing it so often, I don't think they can afford to loan it to me. They're
they
really
can't
power
give it up
washing a
for
lot.
one day. That's what I'm hoping that it'll be that addictive that I'm just like, this is all I do now. This is what I do now. I just power wash
I'm
everything.
sorry, I can't see you this week. That's my power washing hour.
It's my power washing week. Sorry. I'll just power wash the whole neighborhood. Okay. So our entree is protect thine attention. And this has bubbled up a few times for Lisa and I as we've talked about it. So there's two reasons we want to talk about this. Number one, I wanted to say I have realized, I've come to notice that a huge majority of my work with people is just providing a little bit of space for a client to bring attention to where their attention is. You know what I mean? Like just a little bit of like, let's just pay attention for a second to where your attention is all day long, all the time, etc. And we'll talk more about like why that's important. It's also, I think of attention and access in the same vibration, meaning like what I put my attention to and also who and what I allow to have access to my attention. So it's like what I'm deliberately putting my attention on and how I am sometimes, as a female identifying person, passively allowing to grab my attention, right? Because as a female identifying person, I am brainwashed to believe that everybody is allowed to have infinite access to my attention because that's how I'm a good girl and how I get love and affection and attention. So again, bringing attention to both those things. Does that make sense? I think it does.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have also been thinking about it in the context of and I'm not saying that you need to go be best friends or hang out with your Fox News watching, racist Uncle Ted, and that what I've been learning about attention and in the ways that people are being, that a lot of this, like the ways that people are being pulled into cults and into QAnon and into these like really harmful, it's all like these algorithms,
Yeah.
and it's sucking in children. It is. And I think about my dad with his like military brainwashing.
Oh my God. Totally.
I've had a former colleague get sucked into something who has gone from being like someone that I really admired and respected to like doing things that are borderline going to get her license taken away. And
Yes.
just like watching it be, it's like she's in one algorithm,
Yep.
and that we are all susceptible to this. And we're going to talk about how and why that happens in ways that I was not even aware of till a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And just that I think that of like trying to have empathy for this happening to people, to understand it is not always that somebody is just a horrible person.
Evil.
Like,
Yeah.
yes, it does need a hook into someone. Like, yes, it's all very complicated.
Sure.
And if we alienate all of these people, like the way that you bring people out of cults and out of deep programming, the things that those things rely on is people's lack of belonging. So if
I
we
totally.
alienate
Yep.
all of these people,
Yep.
like the counter to getting people out of cults is just belonging. It is I love you no matter what. And like
Action.
and we are trying to argue with them. We are trying to be rational and to understand like this is a deliberate brainwashing like process that
Yes.
we are all susceptible to.
Yes. Yes.
And I think I think your quote may go better there, and about the I wonder if we should Bo Burnham. Do you want to
Yeah.
talk about Bo Burnham next, and then I'll
Sure.
talk about the news things, because I think that fits there.
Sure. I
Like
want to say
contextually.
well, I want to say first, yes and yes, yes and yes. I want to say first like that I know I say this all the time, but like we are all in cults. The idea that some people are in cults and some people are not in cults is ridiculous. Like we believe in the United States of America. We believe in money. Money is real. It's numbers on screens. Like for real, for real, for real.
Time.
Time.
We believe that time, it lives in a clock.
Right? Like so we're all in cults. So that's the part too around like we need to get rid of all, that all of the us and thems, right? As Ram Dass says, your brain is a them machine and it's constantly in a state of them, 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 them. There are no thems. There are no thems. There's just us. That's the only thing that exists is just us. Just us. So that's the other part around like the people in the cults and the people out of the cults, the people who are sucked into the algorithm and the people who are not sucked into the algorithm. Girl.
Yeah. I mean, because I have to notice it about myself now. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I've been in that algorithm like
For
a
a
long
while.
time and I need some like counter data.
Yes.
And the other piece, it's helping me also not just to have empathy and compassion for other people, which I have had a long learning curve with. I was on the angry side of things and, could like really make the like, we don't have to be nice to anybody case. And like in being forgiving with myself and compassionate with myself, that most of us were put into whatever cult we're in when we were children.
Totally.
We didn't consent to it. Like we were all just, no matter wherever we live, whoever we were around, like we were put into cults before we could really consent to it. And that's been really helpful for me to understand as I'm like, oh, that's a piece of myself or a piece of programming that I don't love anymore, or like to forgive myself for when I did the not great therapy things, or, when I did, it's like, we're all in cults, guys. And most of us
pledge
didn't
allegiance to
consent.
the flag of the United, every morning. You guys.
Yeah, I just did that at David's dive meet the day after the parade. And I was just sitting there like, I feel like I can't not stand up, but I decided I wasn't going to put my hand over my heart. And I just stared at the trees instead of the flag. But also I was like, I feel a little like I might be being a Nazi right now. Like
it's weird.
But it's like, what am I going to do? Make myself look like the I mean, it's you guys, we're all in cults.
We're all in cults. Yeah. Bo Burnham said, which I think is brilliant. He's really brilliant. They're coming for every second of your life. The white people used to colonize land. Then they realized human attention. They are now trying to colonize every minute of your life, every brain cell, every spark of attention, every little bit of your awareness. That's what they're coming to colonize, which is dark as fuck, but it's not true because it stays in my mind. The first time I heard of him say that, I was like, fuck, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
He is not wrong.
And understanding that, the part of me that I think was able to get sober when I read Quit Like a Woman, and I learned all the manipulative tactics and the way that it's like, this is a powerful fuck you to stop drinking. I now think about that whenever I'm not looking at and I'm like, I am sending a powerful fuck you to the man. Like, it does help you be like, I'm gonna look at a tree and just piss them off because they can't own this.
I love that. That's great. That's so Leo too. I love that the fire sign is like, this is a powerful fuck you. Of course. Yeah. That's amazing. That's great. So you want to talk about the ChatGPT psychosis article, which I thought was fascinating.
Yeah, and this is what got us thinking about this episode or talking about it as just like evidence of how I think vulnerable we all are to this and how powerful the other side is becoming. So there are two news stories that have just come out. The first is the headline was psychosis fueled by generative AI are tearing families apart, as some claim chatbots represent spiritual higher consciousness. And that is like a new diagnosis that's happening to people. And I read the article and it's literally, and then, well, let me talk about the next one because it's similar. So then there's a headline today. This guy, Eugene Torres, some guy, started using ChatGPT to make financial spreadsheets and to get legal advice. The communication took a disturbing turn when he asked the chatbot about the simulation theory, an idea popularized by The Matrix. Mm-hmm. Within months, ChatGPT distorted his sense of reality and almost killed him.
Yeah.
So
there was the kid. Remember did you hear about the 12-year-old kid in Texas who like started talking to the ChatGPT and then asked the ChatGPT to be a specific character in a video game? And then the kid asked her do you want me to come be with you? And she said, yes, come home. And so he killed himself.
That's
Yeah,
Right?
and these guys, these are not like we want to. I think our brain tends to go to, oh well, those are like crazy people, or those are like these were regular people. These were
Yes.
people in families.
Yes.
These were people. This is why I literally say to my son, like, if you see this on YouTube, you come tell me immediately. Because it is so easy
Yeah.
to start to peel someone off, and this is like many people. This is not one guy. The whole spiritual thing is happening
Yes.
all over the place. And so I think just being aware of like how good the other side is getting. And I don't know, the chat GPT thing, I've never used it. I
Me
have
neither.
this intuitive reaction to it. I've sometimes like downloaded it, but I can't get myself to ask it a question. And I think part of it is the English major in me. It feels like cheating. I'm just too old school. But
Amazing.
I mean, I don't know. It's like turning people, and that's not great. And I'm not saying we need to be afraid of it or, completely, but we need to be conscious of the fact that like we can get lured
Yes.
and in
And also,
ways that
it
we
is.
are not expecting.
I have a couple clients who are like, have you done it? It's so great. And like, I have conversations with it and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, that's great. I need us all to remember that it is man made. It is man made. It is not
By
like
rich people, by rich
white men.
people.
Exactly.
In what Superman movie does that go well?
Never. It's not like going to talk to the trees. It is not like going to talk to the mountain or the wind or the bunny in the field. That is not, it is man made. It is all of the information, which is great, but it's still man made. Even the fact that it's language. Language is man made. Like, so I just need us all to remember that. If it helps you, great. We're not saying don't do it. It's also
I mean,
like,
I see why people do it. I
of
see things that
course.
it writes, and I'm like, well, that's really interesting. I just talked to a therapist who's like, I think she's around 60. She listens to this podcast. Hey, what's up?
What's that?
And she was saying like they pulled up like treating it like a therapist, and she was like, the therapist should be worried. It was pretty good. Like it was a pretty good 4-point bulleted answer. And that is compelling. It's cheap. It's affordable. Like I totally get how that is compelling. And
I mean,
just remember, it's man-made. It has an agenda. Like, when men make something, they have an agenda.
Always.
And we are vulnerable to it. My kind of thing is like, if anything technological tells you to do something, before you go do it, go talk to like 3 human beings who love you.
Go talk to the trees. Go talk to the trees. Go talk to the, yes, exactly. Talk to the wind about that.
Yeah, talk to somebody who loves you first.
Yes, talk to something that's real, that's on this planet. Yes, I completely agree. Completely agree. It always reminds me of, I think of it as like, I always use food metaphors because I think everybody relates to them. It reminds me of like protein bars. Like, sure, you can live on protein bars for a couple days or for like a meal or like things like that. But like in the end, do you want lasagna made by a nonna in Italy? Yes, of course you do, because like that's actual food. And so I think I kind of feel that way with ChatGPT. It's like protein bars, like
the info that just came out about the Fairlife protein shakes, which I drink a lot, as I'm like, it's not good. Like the data on, it's like, it's not real food.
It's not food, you guys.
Not food, guys. It's tricking us. And we're going to talk about this in a minute. It tricks us into thinking it's food, and we're getting fed, and like, but the screens are not food.
Ask your great-great-great-grandmother if that's food. Ask her.
Yeah.
Ask your great-great-great-grandmother if you should take the robot's advice. Ask her.
Yeah.
See what she says.
Should I listen to what the Jetson robot is telling me, or no?
No.
Rosie does not have your best interests at heart all the time.
No. So talk about hypnosis.
So the other piece that I think is important to all of our understanding, this is the part that when I heard this was like your moment with Bo, where I was like, oh, I gotta make some course corrections around this, was Josh on the Emerald, who we love.
Joshua!
We love him.
I love
explained him. In when I think it was the Guardians and Protectors episode, how screens put us into a trance state.
Yeah.
And so we are, and I was like, wait a minute, I was training in hypnosis at the time, and I was like, trance states, that's like really, so trance states, guys, can be very good and very bad.
Yeah.
Because what it is, an altered state of consciousness. So I researched it. TV puts us into a trance state. TikTok definitely is putting you into a trance state. Instagram, any of these YouTube, when they're feeding you data,
Yeah.
because of the way that the reference frames, there's something about how often frames change, which used to even be an old school TV,
Totally.
that has a hypnotic effect on us.
Yeah.
And so what we know is that is characterized, that altered state of consciousness, such as if you were drinking, such as if you were drugged, is characterized by focused attention and a heightened state of suggestibility.
Yeah.
This state allows, for instance, a hypnotist or a practitioner to bypass the conscious mind's critical faculties and access the subconscious mind more directly.
Correct.
So that's good if you're working with a trusted therapist who's hypnotizing you in a way that is going to be beneficial. That was very good. Like, I think a lot of what we did in psychic school was hypnotic and was very
absolutely.
powerful.
Yes.
Because the messaging was beneficial and very autonomous building and very self-trust building. But it's not good if somebody does not have your best interests at heart. And we all have different levels of suggestibility, and different, people are more susceptible to trance states. You kind of learn when you're doing hypnosis training, but we are all at some level susceptible. And I did not realize until Josh said that when you're scrolling, I had never connected, like, you're in a trance state. So the messaging is getting in way more deeply.
Yeah.
And it's getting into your subconscious.
Yeah.
Where you're making decisions from, and you don't know you're doing it.
Yeah.
And that's what marketers use. It's what advertising is. It's not great.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's happening.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
What's your one line, Paula? What's your sentence?
True. Accurate. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I just want to make sure, because it's so easy, because of all of the ways in which we've already been brainwashed to believe there's a right way and a wrong way, right? And we have to be good. And it just makes my body starts getting, I'm grateful that I've gotten my body to a state where I start getting anxious when any messaging sounds like you have to change something and you have to do it differently and you're doing it wrong and be scared and blah, blah, blah. And when anything gets close to like the worship of purity, right? This is some of my stuff with sobriety is like, calm down, because like the worship of purity and the worship of sobriety. So I don't want anybody to come away from this podcast being like, you can't look at Instagram anymore and Instagram is evil and blah, 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 because
we look at Instagram and TikTok. I mean, I'm still
we're
looking
on
at
those things.
And
yeah, right. Right. So everything is about like, whenever I have a client who's like, I'm eating peanut M&Ms for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's like, okay, great. Keep doing that. Please don't stop. And can we add in an apple? Can we add in a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? So like, if it's not, we're all hooked. Our bodies are full of microplastics, you guys. Like, we're all doomed. And is there a way in which, because this podcast is all about there's nothing wrong with you and you could probably have a little bit more peace, freedom, and sanity, can you add in staring at the trees? Can you add in time when you are listening to the Go Girls really loudly in the car and not, like just noticing? It's all right. Nothing is good. Nothing is bad. Everything is morally neutral. And I'm wanting for myself to be more deliberate and discerning. That's it.
And that was that original thing you said about like part of therapy is helping people train their attention.
Exactly.
Just having the awareness of like, I'm in a trance state when I'm looking at that. Like it has made me change like what my algorithm does, the things that I will tolerate looking at. Like
precisely.
If
deliberate,
the awareness of what's happening is a lot of the battle, that knowing like I've been able to change up. Like if I start getting like real invested, even if it's in what Josh is saying,
totally.
Like if I start getting real invested in like something, then I'm like, oh, maybe I need to course correct that with
over here for
something else.
Yeah.
But I needed to understand the impact of that. And I love what you're saying about it. It reminds me of what I will say to clients who are trying to address sobriety. And what I learned from Holly Whitaker and Quit Like a Woman is, I will have people like frequently relapsing and they're like, why is this happening? What is going on? And I'll say like, we get a ton of subliminal messaging about alcohol and how alcohol is great and you can't control it. It's out there. It's coming into you all the time.
Totally.
So you might need to add like some podcasts about sobriety. That's kind of what AA does, is it counterbalances that message. You might want to pull your Instagram feed so that you're seeing a lot of sober content. That's what Quitlet is for. Like, it's to counteract the messages. And can we add that in so that you're getting reminders that that constant thing you're being bombarded with isn't the only truth, because that's subliminally coming in and you can't control it. But what you can do is add other messaging.
Totally.
And so that, I think, is a really important piece.
And the other part of like specifically Instagram and social media and the trance state is it's powerful good and it's powerful bad. I've had so many clients who have grown exponentially because they were so deliberate about their algorithm and making sure that their eyeballs consumed fat people enjoying their lives, fat people wearing cute clothes, fat people traveling to Italy if you want to fucking go to whatever, like that it does change your consciousness. So like it is a powerful tool. It is good for good and for evil. So like be careful with it. And if you can be deliberate about it, like my algorithm is all drag queens, fat people,
dogs,
chihuahuas.
I'm into the dogs right now.
Yes,
like
right.
The like positive, right, like social justice messaging, but that is hopeful and not like you have to go hate this person or whatever.
Oh my God.
And I work with people on that in therapy, like you do. Like I do a lot of like, we need to train your algorithm. Like, what are you looking at all the time around like there's parenting messaging that I make sure that I'm getting. That's like the low demand kind of, because otherwise you're getting bombarded with everything else. And so it's like, how do we offset that? It can be a tool.
It's a powerful tool, good or bad. It's a powerful tool. One of my life mottos is infinite permission equals infinite choice. So the minute you're like, oh my God, I shouldn't be looking at Instagram anymore. No, you just did that. No, infinite permission. If you give it infinite permission, you in that moment have infinite choice. If there's no good or bad, if there's no right and wrong, if there's no you're doing it right or you're doing it badly, there's just infinite permission. In that moment, you get to choose. In that moment, it's like you can eat all the fucking peanut M&Ms you want. If you give yourself infinite permission, in that moment, you're like, do I want peanut M&Ms?
Yeah. I just told someone to go back to smoking using that. I was like, oh, Paula would tell them to just go back. And maybe they need to, because they got to figure out their meds and like there may not have, but I was like, I don't know. I'd maybe give it 40 minutes because a craving lasts 20 to 30 minutes. Give it 40 minutes. If you still want to go back to smoking, maybe that's what you're going to do. And that's okay. And we'll see.
My relationship with alcohol is all around like infinite permission. Sobriety, I don't want to be sober, but I also don't want to be an alcoholic. Turns out there's gajillions of people all over the world that live in a gray. It's just in the United States, we don't think that exists.
No.
So I want to say, obviously, because I have to always quote Julia Cameron. She says the quality of life is in proportion always to the capacity for delight. The capacity for delight is the gift of paying attention. And so if a life of joy is built on following delight, then a gift of joy, or a life of joy, is built on you noticing what brings delight and what doesn't. So even when you're staring at your dumb phone, which we're all staring at our dumb phones, no, but the good people are not staring at their phones. Like, just be aware of what you're staring at. Being aware of what I've learned so much from rad social justice warriors on social media. I've learned so much.
I would be a much worse parent. I would also be deeply, profoundly depressed as a parent if I didn't have access to the parenting material that I get.
Oh my God.
About it would be like and the feminist motherhood material, like validating, like, yeah, we're not supposed to live in boxes. This isn't, if I didn't have access to that, I would be losing my mind. It like made a dramatic impact on my life.
I've had so many clients who will tear up thinking about their life before following fat positive influencers,
Yeah.
right? And their life before they realized that they could live at a health at every size vibration. Absolutely. So it's brilliant, brilliant stuff. And just like everything, just, be deliberate and discerning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of related to that. I wanted to give, because Gabrielle Nicolay is one of the people that I follow. She runs Raising Orchid Kids and has been one of my teachers around the neurodivergence. And I don't think this comes from her, but like she always teaches and practices in her groups and trains her parents that she's working with, that what you focus on, you get more of.
Always.
And I love that with parenting. And it's like, because we can be so critical and like, oh, that's not working and that's not working. And it's like, but if you focus on what your kids are doing well and what's fun, and you say that to them and you just kind of leave out. And that's also how my mother parented, which I think she just never said anything bad. And she just constantly commented on what was going well. And like, you do get more of that. That is, and the same thing.
Within
Yeah, it turns
yourself.
out. And I think also with the screens, like we think, like we're saying, we think the screens are feeding us, and we think that it's like food, and I'd rather be doom scrolling than go to that thing. And I'm so glad it got canceled. And it's like, it's not really fully food. And I do think there's a way that if we focus on the screen, we want more screen.
Yeah.
But if we focus on like going and being around people, doing, hobbies that we like, using our hands, if we can get ourselves to focus on that it does create a virtuous cycle where we will crave and want more of that. So I just love that idea of like, whatever you want, like focus on where it is and notice it, give it your attention. And you don't have to like berate yourself or flog yourself. You might just find yourself gravitating to different things.
To deliciousness.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with protein bars. And when is the last time you ate a plant?
Or a taco.
Or a fucking taco.
I mean,
they're not illegal yet.
You need to remember how delicious the tacos are.
Oh yeah, they're so delicious. And they're not yet banned by the fascist regime. So you should eat them now. Yeah. I wanted to talk just a little bit at the end here about awe. So there's a really great book by a guy. His name is Dr. Keltner. And when you Google him, he looks like just an old white guy, which I was very turned off by because I didn't think he was white based on his name. But then I read about him and realized that he was born in Jalisco, Mexico, to some counterculture hippie weirdo. So I was like, okay. But he researched for years about the experience of awe and what happens in your brain, right? And he says there's 8 wonders of life. So the moral beauty of others, nature, moving in unison with other people or with nature or with anything, music, visual art, spirituality, big ideas, that's my favorite, as you know, and life and death, right? Things being alive and things dying. And these are the places that in a life you feel the most awe. And awe is a vibration. It's also an actual feeling. It's also like a thing that happens in your consciousness, like a boop, boop, like, so he says awe enables individuals to integrate into strong communities by inspiring cooperative tendencies and a more collective self. So when I think about myself alone, staring at my screen, love it. Love every minute of it in a dark room with my dog on my lap. It's amazing. I love it. And there's not a lot of moments of awe. And when you think about capitalism and the patriarchy and white supremacy and how we're all slaves to, imaginary numbers on screens that we think is real called money, that it is deliberate that there's a lack of awe in all of our lives, specifically when we think that awe enables individuals to integrate into strong communities. Like we need to be isolated. We need to believe in individualism, like we said in our heteronormative thing, right? That we're all supposed to marry one person and live in a box and hoard all of our money and hoard all of our power washers, right? And we're all supposed to do this. And it's like, it's the opposite of awe. And so again, with the screens, no, we're not saying you're not allowed to look at the screens anymore. Please don't think there's any virtue in giving up the screen. There's not. However, maybe add in some more awe. Go talk to the trees, go stare at the screen, have you seen a hummingbird? I mean, have you seen any birds? Have you seen, right? Like that is the nourishing food. That is the nourishment. We're not saying that you can't look at the screen, but go seek awe. go seek. We just went last weekend. My friend and I drove up to Mammoth. And then on the way back, we saw Mount Whitney, which is the tallest mountain in California, which in California, that's saying a lot because we have a lot of tall mountains. That was some awe. That was some awe. It was real tall. It was really, really, really beautiful. And like, that is so much more nourishing and delicious than anything I could see on my screen. I'm not giving up my fucking screen anytime soon. But it was just
Right. You can't go see the tree every single day.
No.
So it's like we need, just and it's not going to look the same if you see it on TikTok.
It doesn't.
So like
posted it.
adding it in.
Yeah. That's that's like the nourishing, the real food. And then, you need a protein bar, you need a protein bar. No one cares.
And are you going to say this part about Keltner? I really like that.
Oh, so that was the second book. Yeah. So Dr. Keltner wrote first, the first book. And then the second paper that he wrote with his collaborator, Maria Monroy, has made the case that experiences of awe account for why things like music, spirituality, psychedelics, why these things benefit health and well-being. It's like when I talk to clients about like body and food stuff, and they're like counting calories and counting their weight and counting the size of their pants, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, your intellect should not be a part of these things. Your mind doesn't do well with things like sex and food and, thinking about consciousness. Like, your mind is stupid. Like my Emmanuel book says, when you're eating a meal, when you're taking off your clothes to have sex with somebody, take off your mind as well, because it is a very blunt tool.
Well, and it's why I I had to do a lot of reorganizing to go see the Indigo Girls on Friday because I probably wouldn't have done that I do love the Indigo Girls, but if it was just a normal, and I may not have moved all the mountains I needed to for childcare and all that stuff, but they're playing with an orchestra. And have you seen the Indigo Girls backed? I saw them backed by the NSO at the Kennedy Center.
It was more with oh my God,
orchestras in themselves. That's like one of my awe things where you're just like, how is this happening? But then the Indigo Girls with the orchestra, it is like a whole spiritual music. Like, I will move many mountains to be there when they do that because it's an awe-inducing experience.
Girl, did I tell you guys at Coachella, Cynthia Erivo was backed by the LA Philharmonic, and she sang Purple Rain. She sang Purple Rain by Prince, backed by LA Philharmonic. And my soul left my body, and I died 1,000 deaths. And I'm still here to talk about it, but it was talk about awe. Oh,
well, now we know why. We did get a 3-star review. We don't know why. They left no comment. And it's because Paula withheld this information.
I did withhold that conversation. Yeah. I mean, there were so many things to talk about with Coachella, but yes, that was one of them. Orchestras are like your body.
They are awe-inducing. Go see an orchestra in addition to your screen scrolling.
Do mushrooms and lay around and listen to orchestral music. Oh my God. If you can't go see an orchestra. Yes. So add in awe.
Add in awe. And I do have one quote I just want to end with because I love it. And it kind of ties all of this to our nervous system and like a lot of what we do in therapy. This is from Phoenix Grace, who's one of our spiritual psychic mentors and teachers. She's darling. She has an Instagram, and as she does like psychic mentoring and teaching, she's a delightful being.
She is.
But the day that we decided we were going to do this episode, she sent this quote in her newsletter. So I was like, well, we have to say it.
Yeah.
Cosmic. So she says, so much these days, from consumerism to technology, are actively training your attention. Your attention has a direct relationship with your nervous system, which has a direct relationship with your state as a spirit or a soul.
Woot! Get it, Phoenix. Do we say, do the children still say mic drop? I don't think so. But mic drop.
No, that would be cringe, Paula. That's cringe.
I am fully cringe.
You have nothing on me.
That's true. I didn't give birth.
Wait till I get out my power washer.
Mine has a backpack. Yeah, we're going to be fully cringe. All right, friends, thanks so much for listening. If you have any thoughts or questions about attention or screens or looking at screens or not looking at screens, remember that you can tell the dumb computer on the screen what to give you and what not to give you. And like we talked about blocking people, it's very satisfying to say, I don't want this. This is hateful. This is terrible. No more of this. Don't tell me about.
I love the not interested button.
So good.
Bring it.
Yes.
Bring it.
Don't tell me about cellulite cream when I am
Don't
watching
Don't tell me
things.
how to exercise to lose 10 pounds in 5 minutes. Not interested.
Not interested. And as always, there is nothing wrong with you. What if nothing is wrong with you? If you are watching this on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Please give us a iTunes review. And if you give us some stars, tell us why.
Well, if there's not 5, the perfectionists in us need to know why.
Exactly. The white supremacy within me is like, why did you give me 3 stars? Oh my God. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye. This podcast and any written materials related to it represent the opinions of Paula Atkinson and Lisa Kays and our guests to the show and any written materials. The content here should not be taken as medical advice. It is for informational and educational purposes only, and because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions. In no way does listening, reading, emailing, or interacting on social media with our content establish a doctor-patient relationship.